Howdy, everybody. He's on early. Get the video and audio check, please.
Breaker 19, can you hear me, rubber duck? Hello. Sounds like a plan, Mr. Virtue. I got up on the board here, but I don't know if it's visible in this view. Yes, we hear. Ja? Are you German, David? Okay. Go ahead and go to the board, little one.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. So we have some laboratory results. And hey, Chris, how's it going? Hello, Dave. Glad to see you tonight, Chris. Got chemistry to talk and stuff. Anyhow, so last week we got samples from Central America, did a bunch of tests, and we finally got some results back. And what I'm calling as is the basically the number one cons minus the gold line that's been sucked off the table there. So it's mainly sulfides, about 50% sulfides, 50% silicas and stuff. So split it down, did a fire assay. Then we roasted it. Well, we roasted about 1,000 grams of it. Did another fire assay. Interesting, you can see a significant rise in the assay numbers. Now, clearly, if you could make gold by simply roasting it, we'd be roasting a lot. So that's not making gold. First question is, how much other mass did you lose when you roasted? Did it get lighter? And the answer to that question is yes, it did, but not that much. Okay. So the actual gold recovered in the fire assay improved depending upon whether you were assaying the sulfides or the roasted. That's not ideal, not totally unexpected. Sulfides are a bit of a pain, but it's kind of within the ballpark. So we'll just assume that roasting improves things a little bit. And interestingly enough, too, the bottle roll using Eco Goldex on the as-is material recovered 220 parts per million, ore grade equivalent. There was a 10-to-1 solution dilution, so it was 22 parts per million in solution. Multiply by 10, you get 220, significantly more than 147. So the Eco Goldex, hey Rock, how's it going? Actually, by calculation, recovered 150%.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Rock. Hi, Muscle Up. Hi, Chris.
Which I'm liking. Clearly not possible, but it does mean that it's doing a pretty good job. Also, interestingly, it didn't change a whole lot depending upon whether it was roasted or not. My interpretation of that, and see what you think, Chris. Yeah, Rock. It gets that way in the summer, huh? My interpretation of that is most of the gold is on the outside of the sulfides. Okay? And as such, the solution can get to it. Either that or it's in other crystals or something, but it's not crystal locked inside the sulfides. Otherwise, we wouldn't see that kind of recovery on the unroasted sulfites. The roasted material still did a little better, but so we only got 116% of the fire assay value. Still, excellent recoveries. Call it, 100%. And that was in 6 hours. Now, again, interestingly enough, over time, that amount of gold in solution dropped a little bit. So I would interpret that as a some kind of reprecipitation reaction or something. The actual numbers were roasted 12, 4 hours, and 48 hours. And it was 248. Oh, that one I didn't reprint. Error. Zero, two, yeah, good question, Chris. Not sure. Wow, Jean-Francois.
Hello, Jean-Francois.
So, I agree. Well, it's also possible that the bottle roll was out of calibration, although in that case, he's running an ICP, I think it's an MS, and he's got standards, calibration standards. And the other thing, too, possibly, Rock and Chris, the bottle roll.
You're Mr. Virtue can't hear you because you're not.
Well, I can only do so much when I'm turning around like this. So anyhow, the other possibility is that the bottle roll, because it's a substantially larger sample, these were 100-gram samples. Fire assay, because they were expecting very high values, was probably in the order of a quarter to half an assay ton. So, less than 15 grams is my guess. I didn't actually check, but we told the assayer to expect very high numbers, much higher than he actually found. So, some of your own calibration. We actually have some other standards that have been run before, Chris. But let's say I consider this to be basically, obviously there's issues, but they tell me a couple of things. Number one, roasting does not lose you gold, which was an important thing. Are there volatilization losses? Apparently not. And so roasting is okay. As a matter of fact, it's beneficial. Will the Eco Goldex recover gold out of this? Answer, yes. Will it do it in reasonable period of time? Yes. Will it do it even if it's not roasted? Yeah. So it may be a little less efficient, but it's not that critical. Now, these are concentrates, and they're getting 8 to 10 pounds of concentrates per ton, basically. I wish the samples were good enough for me to do that kind of stuff, Chris. These guys are less than ideal in the sampling department. But anyhow, so the basic concept of doing a bottle roll, fine. These are in the neighborhood of 5-6 ounces a ton, but your run of mine ore, DSD, not sure what that is there, Chris. But if you wanted to directly leach the run of mine material, if you crush it and we're like tank leaching or something like that, it appears the Eco Gold X with unroasted material, particle size distribution, 100% passing 100 mesh. Okay? It all went through a 100 mesh output screen on the ball mill. Okay? So if you wanted to directly leach this material, I don't see a huge problem. Now, roasting run of mine material gets real expensive. Right now, we're looking at 8 to 10 pounds per ton of run of mine material. If you roasted that, it's one thing. If you wanted to roast the original material, it's 20 times as much. Okay. And so that looks really advantageous. That looks pretty good. We don't need to roast, although it's better to roast if you got small, high-grade amounts. On the other hand, if you don't roast, it doesn't kill you on a leach. Not a whole lot of the real fine stuff, Chris, because again, this is concentrated. The real fine stuff probably washed right off the table into the tailings. Again, sampling and analysis is less than ideal at this point. So I can't tell you. I want to get a lot more tailings samples and a lot more tailings assays. I'm trying to impress upon these gentlemen what matters. There's two numbers that really matter. You want to switch back to me, little one? There's two numbers that really matter. One is the head grade. I do not know, Chris. Of the stuff I have, not bad. But this is the way it is processed. I'm not going to get the slime.
It took days.
No, over there. That's a slight amount of it.
Yeah.
Okay. And that also has some of the roasted stuff in it too. Just kind of a mixed match of everything. But well, I was thinking of something. I forget. Oh, say I was trying to get them. Yeah, number one, head grade. Exactly, Mr. Virtue. How much gold do you have? Number two, tailings. How much are you throwing away? The difference is how much you've got stuck somewhere in the process. It may be in the ball mill. It may be recirculating where it's too coarse to just blow away, but it's too fine to really gravity concentrate into the high grade gold line stuff. Hard to tell. It may be stuff we're collecting like this. These sulfides are being collected and stored. And so you want at least two things assayed. Head grade, tailings, head grade, tailings,
I've been worried about overgrinding for quite a while, actually.
Well, that's entirely possible, which is why I need tailings assays. I can't tell them what they're missing until I get some tailings assays. And I say it's very, very frustrating not to be able to go down there and do stuff, but that's just not possible at this time. So, if I was down there, I would have a pan in hand and be panning 100 samples a day at least. Hi, honey bunny.
I'm sorry.
No. But I don't even have a passport at this time. So there's nothing I can do. But they've, you know, they need to get the tailing samples because we don't know what's happening if we don't know what they're throwing away. However, if there is significant losses in the tailings, these results indicate that they're likely recoverable using leaching. I understand, Chris. I can only do so much. The other thing I want to get them doing is put a scavenger sluice on the tailings. Okay. And if they are losing fine heavies, they might be able to get a reasonably good recovery on a scavenger sluice. Need to try it. See. Again, be nice to have assays on the tailings. The only tailings assays we have so far all indicate economic grades going out the tailings. So that's what we have to do is figure out what are you throwing away. I know it's annoying. I know it's expensive. In the long run, since it does dissolve an eco goldex and it does spot test, we may be able to do inexpensive rough assays using bottle rolls and spot tests, depending upon, again, if you have a number of tailings assays and you're constantly panning your tailings, you might be able to get an excellent correlation. I can pan down to about 400 mesh gold. I don't know how fine a sulfides I can get. I would imagine somewhere in the 200 to 300 mesh range. But again, you have to correlate that with assays to get an idea. And to start out with, you just got to do some assays. There's no way to have any confidence in anything without double check. One thing that's nice here is I've got a double check. Okay, I have a fire assay and a bottle roll pretty close together. They're not real close. That's not super tight. It's close enough to say, yeah, we're in the ballpark here. Well, that would be nice to know, Dave. They would have to be sampling the tailings and running them to the lab. I mean, let's see. Last tailings assay. Come on. Last tailings assay that I have is 2.8 parts per million, which, unless I'm mistaken, so that's 1/10 of an ounce to the ton being thrown away. You know? And so, what can I do? We need to get those tailings sampled and assayed. The other thing is, how can you evaluate the effectiveness of any adjustments or changes you might make to your process? For example, an adjustment of the wash water on the table or anything like that, without an effective method of analyzing your tailings. You're literally just guessing. This is where the idea of lots of assays, lots of panning up front quickly allows you, if you're lucky, to go primarily to panning, because you will be able to trust that, yeah, when I see that in the pan, I know what it means. But in order to trust that, you have to be able to correlate it with some assays, and not just one or two, but quite a few at the beginning, you know? Geez, 8 part per million out in the tailings pond. I got my 98.5%. Well, that's a nice head grade. These guys aren't quite that lucky. But yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of stuff on their plates. They've got a lot of distractions, and there's a lot of urgent things they're dealing with. There's a lot of fires they're putting out, so to speak. You know? So, but that still, it doesn't help. You know, if you just get the tailing samples and assay some, pretty soon, you know, and assay the same sample that you send off for assay. Okay? You don't just take a sample and pan it and then take a sample and assay it. It's no, you take your sample, you split it down, you pan some, you send the rest off for assay so you can get a good comparison. You say, I see this in the pan, that's what it is. Then you don't have to do the assays, but you can sample your tailings 50 times a day, you know, with good reliability. It's annoying as hell. It's rather expensive. Not as expensive as throwing away lots of gold you've already mined, crushed, and processed, if you can improve your process. I mean, that's 1/10 of an ounce to the ton. If they do 10 tons, well, let's see, that's 3 parts per million, 3 grams per ton. They're doing 10 tons a day. That's an ounce a day being thrown away. Even if you just cut that in half, you're making an extra $1,500 a day. That's pretty useful. Yeah, I just wish it would work, Chris. You know, but that's, as I say, this is one of the things that it's. I don't know. I could go out, check that propane tank, make sure I've got it fully closed off.
By my desk.
I want to take over for a minute. Eva's going to take over for a minute.
Yeah, there's all kinds of issues with sampling and process control going on here. But funny enough, nobody pays attention to the idea of process. Go figure. Well, anyway, Monty is still gaining weight. Hi, Mr. Virtue. Yeah, Rock Butcher. I would love to see something like that happen. Personally, I would love to see continuous stream sampling on both ends of this process. Unfortunately, somehow feeling. Anyway, Monty is still gaining weight very slowly. We're trying. I'm increasing the size of his prey every time he eats once. And dude is out there checking right now because I keep getting a random smell in the living room that smells quite a hell of a lot like mercaptan. Smells a hell of a lot like a gas leak, which is kind of funny because we do have a gas furnace, but we don't have a gas water heater. We don't have a gas stove. I don't know where that smell is coming from, and he has no decent nose. So, there is that. Hopefully, we figure that out. Meanwhile, silver and gold are still on sale. I did notice that silver futures were running 42 today. And I did say that by this time of the year, 40 would be our new practical floor for silver, and about 3,500 is our new actual. Rock Butcher Monty is my python. I have a ball python. Classic pattern, not one of those fancy morphs. And his food is prey because he eats frozen rats, frozen mice, that kind of thing. Though I really am considering, I'm going to see if I can find a local breeder of prey animals, and see if somebody has bunnies. Because bunnies apparently have excellent macros to help with snakes that are underfed or slightly stunted. And he is stunted. But anyway, yeah, I mean, his prey is prey. Rock Butcher says, "Who the heck is Monty, and why do you describe his food as prey?" Well, anyway, he's back now. Chris suggested checking the pilot on the furnace, or checking the lines leading to it. Jean Francois, it would not surprise me at all that Costco's back ordered on most precious metals items. People are beginning to buy. Just saying.
Trailer. Your own one.
I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, get back to talking to these people. Rock Butcher will be back. Mom's calling from.
Oh, Mongolia should be getting richer here shortly, Rock.
We're not going to.
No, it's just they're going to have to get
yeah,
transit
honey
fees.
bunny, he's probably serious because Rock Butcher's wife is Mongolian.
Yep, he's absolutely serious. That's why he calls his family the Horde. you know. Yeah. So again, it's been difficult to impress upon them why the extra time, effort, and money to test the tailings is money well spent.
Well, considering the fact that they do not understand process at all. They refuse to even consider that process control is a thing.
So, as I say, it's just they've never done this before and just don't understand. Be like me trying to run a football team. I'm sure there's loads and loads of really important stuff that I have no idea about. Because all I do is watch a game, see them run back and forth, throw the ball, kick the ball, hit each other. And it's like, wow, it looks kind of fun, to watch. It doesn't look like fun to be out there. But there's a lot of things happening at a level that someone like me just doesn't even see. to say nothing of understand the relative importance of various factors involved. So I say I'm working on it, but they've got a lot of issues they're dealing with, and it tends to get very distracting. Oh, yeah, honey bunny, I got a letter from or an email from Tricky Dicky too. He's apparently still running around. They found a whole bunch of Babbitt, tin, or zinc. Maybe I think it was zinc. Found some stockpiles of some base metals and such. Tons of that stuff. Our furnace issue. You know, oh, to a certain extent, John, but nothing much. It's a special type of furnace that they had that they were using down there. They got me a copy.
No, I think he's talking about the gas smell.
I don't know. She can smell. I don't smell nothing anywhere, anytime, any reason, and I don't smell very well in the first place. She says, "Do you smell something?" I can just tell her right off the bat. Unless you're gagging, I ain't smelling nothing. I don't know why she asked me. She needs to get up, put on her little shoes, wander around, and see if she can find it. I can't. So you're asking the blind man to see something. It doesn't work very well. I say, I I understand she smells something. I haven't smelled anything, anytime, anyway this whole time. So, go check. Open up on. I will be happy to open stuff up for you. But there's not much I can do. Yeah, your people might be able to do something about it. I don't think tons of base metals are going to do much good in the Philippines for anyone who's not there. Oh, I know her eyes and her nose is much better than me. Again, that's why when she says, "Can you smell it?" and I go, "No," then it's like, okay, do it yourself because there's nothing I can do for you. You know, it's kind of like, well, I can't open the jar lid. She hands it to me. you know, you you give the task to the person who's qualified to handle it. You know, so anyhow, I firmly believe she can smell it. I'm pretty convinced there's probably something even there. Okay, I mean, but it's impossible for me to tell. Kind of like these guys with the tailings. It's like, don't ask them. The assayer. Yeah, I can't smell anything, David. Now, if it was a dangerous leak, I could smell it. Okay.
Well, I will keep that.
Hey, I'm not sure what, where, or why. You're sketching this intermediate smell of something that's just intermittent smell. Yeah. From time to time. Indetectable to me. Like, get up, start moving around, see if you can localize it. Where is it coming from? Yeah, I understand, honey bunny. Yeah, it's not the sort of thing that's real easy to market. In the Philippines, it might work out pretty well. Um, Basic data got this week indicated that the ore is pretty amenable to processing. But what can we do to tweak it quickly and easily right now? I don't know. No. So I say we shall see. Aside from that, I'm going to be going up to help Lauren for a couple of days, do some more work up on the mountain. Hey, Brian.
I have no idea why you don't see any chats on YouTube. Don't trust Bob.
Yeah, either do I.
I have everything set the same way I always have it.
I want to get on his. You go next to it, there should see three dots. Yeah, click that and see what you see. Go right click on it. I don't see anything. Didn't he used to, Jean Francois, did you ever have a what do you call it? Moderator privileges? I don't see it.
Hi, Brian.
Thought you had moderator. Yeah, because Brian's got the blue.
I'm gonna see. Here, I'll get on the YouTube and see if I can
I don't know.
do 3 things.
I understand, little one. But anyhow, so
I never got to notice.
the basic stuff looks pretty good. Now, when it comes to the other solutions I'm testing,
Jean Francois, I have no idea because I see everything and I'm not a moderator.
doesn't matter. I mean, you can also basically kick them off.
I'm on my.
I understand the thing here, but I don't see anything why you shouldn't be able to get. Maybe Chris has an idea.
Brian says recap, please, with whiteboard.
Oh,
so,
okay, go to.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the whiteboard now, people. So that Bear can recap everything.
By the way, Brian, I think the gold that I got has got a little bit of something on it. You tell me what brand you got. Maybe I got a different brand that's got a little bit of oil or something. Anyhow, these are results from the Central American project. As is sulfide concentrates with the gold line separated. So this is completed. Fire assay ran 147 parts per million. The bottle roll recovered 220 parts per million, which means it did really, really good, 150% of the fire assay. I roasted the as-is sample, and it came up to 214 part per million by fire assay, which is not as much as the reduction in mass from the roasting. So evidently it made gold more amenable to the fire assay. We got 248 parts per million on the bottle roll. Now, by the way, that's in 6 hours, or 116% recovery. So the Eco Goldex is doing a great job. Took the roasted and bottle rolled it. 6 hours, we got 248 parts per million. 12 hours, 190, back up to 222, then back up to 210. I think there's some little reprecipitation going on, perhaps, or something. Okay. And so that's what that is. It indicates to me that this kind of confirms that and vice versa. We're in the same ballpark. These are much larger samples, so they may have gotten a few chunks of larger stuff that didn't. And we're getting good recoveries in short periods of time with the Eco Goldex. The roasting is not losing anything to volatilization. It's definitely improving stuff, so roasting is definitely indicated. So that's what that's all about. So I was doing the solution testing because Eco Goldex It's not the cheapest stuff. Seems to work pretty well. Um, can't just get it anywhere. Got to get it from one supplier. But the other thing is, at least in the state of Montana, it is still considered to be a cyanide for regulatory purposes because it has ferrocyanide uh, ions, which are not the same as cyanide, but nevertheless, they consider it to be a cyanide for regulatory purposes. It would be nice to have something that wasn't. Yes, the number one minus the gold line, Brian. Yep. So, trying to find other solutions that will do a decent job recovering gold that don't have cyanide in them. Of the stuff that's on the market, one thing that's been commercialized in the past is various thiosulfate leaches. And so that's one of the things I'm focusing on. Brian was trying some glycine and had some good results with the gold leaf. With the gold leaf. And so I was trying that. It also turns out the thiosulfate plus copper, and that is what gets you gold. Gives you gold thio. That's a copper plus. To get this in there, quite often is thio plus ammonia plus copper sulfate. The ammonia and the copper sulfate react almost immediately. You get copper, and it's NH3. Okay. It's a copper tetraamide. That with the it oxidizes the gold. Well, this is where the copper is supposed to do. The copper 2 plus oxidizes the gold where it'll grab the thio. That's what the literature says. 8 to 10 pounds per ton of ore, Brian. Nominal throughput of the mill 10 tons a day. But anyhow, so this is what I was working with now.
If you don't drive the reaction forward, it will reverse on you. Do we need to add electricity?
No, you can't add electricity if you're going to do it with a tank or a leach pad or a vat or anything else except for something very kind of do a lot in a small area. Larger areas get complicated. According to the literature I've been reading, Chris, the leach solution was basically thiosulfate plus ammonia plus copper sulfate, and then this is the one thing I don't have right now, plus permanganate. Okay, potassium permanganate. I'm waiting for the potassium permanganate. My chemistry was half a century ago, Chris. I really need to brush up. Yeah, I understand, Brian. There's a lot of things you can do.
You can use electricity
Yeah, that's fine. Something small. 10 tons a day, it's going to be a little tough, Chris. That's what I'm saying. I want something I can scale up. This is another reason I don't want to run at elevated temperatures. Now, I may have to, but I prefer not
Well,
to.
so far the Eco Goldex has been doing fine.
The Eco Goldex worked fine. Okay. The thiosulfate, I got it down to like 5 minutes.
And their ambient temperatures there.
You know, so that's I'm waiting for stuff to show up, but I'm doing some research in the meantime. And so another thing that works to stabilize the copper is that copper right here. Also, if you go with glycine, believe it or not, so either way, then you get the copper too, but now you've got a copper glycine. That also oxidize the gold, then allow it to combine with the thio, supposedly. Okay, Chris, I understand that part. Okay, right now I'm just trying to duplicate the literature. According to the literature, this works darn well. It's almost as good as cyanide. So I'm using the Eco Goldex as kind of the standard. Now another thing I tried was dilute aqua regia, or as I like to call it, chloronitric acid. And that's when I noticed that it just wasn't dissolving the gold leaf anywhere like it should. Exactly, Chris. So the the whole situation was getting a little confusing there. When I started seeing that gold leaf kind of dissolve and disappear, but still be there, and you look at one angle, you gold, and you look at the other, and you're looking right through it. Like, what the hell? My assumption was maybe got a little bit of oil or something, during the process where they made the gold leaf. And in fact, in a couple instances, when I added a little bit of detergent to it, it seemed to make a big difference. So maybe the gold leaf is not dissolving like clean gold would. It's amazingly difficult to deal with because it's extremely thin. It's in not micrometers, less like a tenth of a micrometer thick. Yes, you got to charge the gold. You got to turn it from neutral to
Electrochemistry works nicely even at large.
Okay.
Brian says, "I wonder if there was any wax on it." Now that's
that's exactly what we're
those
thinking.
paper sheets that it was between might have.
It might have been just that. I don't know how they make it. I kind of presume they use rollers. There might be some kind of release agent on the rollers. I don't know. But I think we have essentially a slightly contaminated gold leaf. The Eco Goldex, the chemistry there has got enough detergent surfactant effect where it will deal with it.
Dip gold leaf in
Sodium hydroxide. Well, in the case of the more basic solutions, I was doing that. For example, the latest test with the glycine, since the pH was adjusted with sodium hydroxide, I took sodium hydroxide, added a little water, and the gold leaf, and let it sit first.
Brian's hammer later.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they've got in the paper or this or that or how much contamination. It does appear to be a little bit of contamination. But the other thing I tried, Jean-Francois, with the thiosulfate, see this ammonia right here? That's a reasonably good cleaning agent too. So I took the gold in the ammonia first before adding the water and other stuff.
Oh man, that's too bad,
You
Rock
take care,
Butcher.
Rock.
Good night and take care.
Good night. So, as I say, it's one of those things that just feeling my way at this point, getting a little bit of familiarity with chemistry, not only in the in the beaker, but also in theory. Reading the papers of literature and stuff, and trying to, because in theory, this chemistry should work reasonably close to cyanide. Okay.
The acidic test, little piranha.
Sulfuric acid plus
Hydrogen peroxide.
hydrogen peroxide. Huh?
That will eat any organ.
Okay.
That certainly sounds good.
So I say that's what I'm doing. I'm not. The only acidic system I've seen so far is acidic thiourea, and for that, it uses ferric chloride as an oxidizer, and the ferric chloride hasn't shown up either. So I'm not ready to test those. But basically, that's what I'm doing. It's very, very early in the familiarization phase here. And again, I'm making a lot of mistakes, I'm sure. But it allows me to, as I say, get that familiarization at 100 milliliter batches. Once I get something like this chemistry here that works consistently in the beaker, then I got plenty of stuff to test it on now. In quartation? No. Dissolving just requires the right solution. John. The Eco Gold X dissolves it. Thiosulfate's been dissolving it a little inconsistently right now. Not terribly much, Brian. In the case of the thiosulfate stuff, I was putting in the ammonia and with the gold first to clean it, and then building the solution from that. Yeah, I say it's supposedly ordered and on the way. Could be. I'd rather have something that is pure and of known concentration. But yeah, it's interesting. A little bit annoying right now. Well, this is, I haven't even had the permanganate at this point, so there's no real booster there. Just thio, ammonia, copper sulfate, which supposedly will work, and it seems to have worked to a certain extent. The permanganate is supposed to accelerate it. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, Brian. Problem is, if you put a detergent in there and you put a oxygenator in and it starts foaming on you, ordered some dirt. No, I got plenty of samples. I got 40 pounds of this stuff here. I can make 40 pounds of that over time just by roasting it. The thio it needs an oxidizer, but the cupric ion is supposedly sufficient to oxidize the gold on its own. The permanganate accelerates that. Okay? That is what the literature says. I did. The problem is, Jean Francois, with um, gold leaf that needs a little bit of a detergent to get the stuff to get to it, it foams real good. That's what that picture's all about. Yeah, that I tried it again. It's one of those things. Either it doesn't matter if it was the OxyClean or H2O2. You start getting effervescence and you have a detergent, life gets ugly real fast. Same thing with bubbling air in it. You know, you still wind up with, hey, dimensional. Don't remember seeing you before. I have no idea, legend. But so that's what I've been experimenting with. And I am confident that over time I will learn enough, become reasonably capable. Could be, Chris. That's one more thing I gotta try to fit in all the stuff then. By the way, the electrodes are also on order at the present time. In your guesstimation, Chris, if you had a direct electrowinning cell hooked up to your circuit, is that going to increase the oxidation potential of the solution too? So just throw a chunk of iron and a chunk of copper in there and use the battery voltage to do its thingy. As I was saying, with direct electrowinning, is that going to help or hurt in terms of the oxidation potential, Chris? Because I was hoping that, I mean, with these kind of concentrations, the solution concentrations ought to be good enough for direct electrowinning, especially if you just recirculate, reuse the solutions. So, okay, Chris. The idea is direct electrowinning may not get everything out of solution, but if you're reusing the solution, that's not a big issue. It's kind of like with the gravity concentration tables and that. As long as you're not throwing it away, you'll get it sooner or later.
You call that board that make pop on?
I don't know. Uh, Masonite, I think. Interesting, Chris. We'll have to discuss it in a little more detail. But yeah, let's say this is very early in the. I'm just trying to duplicate what the literature has been saying at this point, and then uh, optimize and refine it there. And the idea is to work it on a small scale. Um, they're getting 100 pounds a day. We might have to go more with a cement mixer than anything else. How do you connect the solution to electrodes? Good question, Jean Francois. Again, I'm trying to Took a lot in my old geezer brain here. I presume the membranes allow the charges to go across with while keeping the chemistry somewhat separated. Hmm. So, as all the people who are uh, even less chemically knowledgeable than me can see, it gets complicated. um, and my job is to, first of all, understand it well enough, test it well enough, and refine it to the point where it's easy enough for someone who doesn't understand what's happening to make it work. Yeah, you can do it in a plastic barrel, cement mixer, all kinds of stuff. You know, it can be done in a plastic barrel, Brian. I agree. The only negative to the plastic barrels, now you got to build a whole bunch of mixing apparatus and stuff, and then you have to have a way of emptying the plastic barrel. Cement mixer already has all that. So it's pretty easy to do. If you really needed to heat it, you could even, if you had a metal drum, you can just put a burner underneath that. You know, there's ways to do these things that are fairly simple, but by the time you start building all the equipment, a lot of times it's simpler and cheaper to just buy something that isn't exactly what is, but it's darn close enough. And it's off the shelf. And if it breaks or wears out, you just, take it back and do the warranty thing and get another one. At least that's the nice thing about Harbor Freight, you know? Cool, Jean Francois. Oh, absolutely, Chris. You'd have to take that into account and deal with it if necessary. They make plastic ones. There's things you can coat it with. Some chemistries don't matter. Just depends. Yep. That's another one, Chris. The only negative to a bottle roll or a barrel roll or whatever is if you have some that effervesces. Hey, Prairie Storm, if you have anything that generates any gases, yeah, it's going to be awfully difficult to do in a barrel roll or a bottle roll because it's going to generate pressure. $30 worth of, I think you're talking about hot water and OxyClean. Well, Aqua roast 100 pounds of cons. Could be. I've got to do these tests to figure it out, Brian. There's all kinds of possibilities now. Um, hey, Tricky, how's it going? Oh, I'm doing fine, Richard. Take care, Brian. Oh, how, kiss the babies.
Kiss the babies.
I've mentioned that you found a bunch of base metal ingots over there. I don't think that Honey Bunny was saying that she's got some relatives over there or whatever. So that might work out. So you might have something that'll work in the Philippines there for you. Uh, but anyhow, uh, just working on trying to learn new stuff over here. Anyhow, that's basic it. Mr. Virtue, I've got perfect stuff right here to test with. Yeah, this want to switch to me again. The sulfide concentrate, I got 40 pounds of it. I'm only using, you know, in a beaker sized test, probably 10 grams at a time. Shouldn't be difficult to get a lot of test. Right now, I'm just using the gold leaf because I can see what's going on. Once I get things debugged to the point where I can dissolve the gold leaf in a reasonable period of time consistently, then I'll try it against some of these roasted cons. And then I will take the solution and test it against I'm going to have to test it blank against the spot test too, but then test it against the spot test once it's supposedly loaded and see if I can get a good, cheap, uh, qualitative assay. Um, it's my guess that if I can get a batch thoroughly leached in 24 hours, that's a nice cycle time. I'm getting to that point, Chris. But yeah, say there's a lot of stuff. Take it step by step, and you don't make some mistakes, some assumptional mistakes that come back to bite you. Exactly, Chris. Say, I don't know. First, I want to get the simplest system working well, then complicate it, see if it still works. If it doesn't, see if there's a way to make it work easily. I don't know. That's where having a spot test available it's a lot better than having to take it to the lab. It costs $28 for a number right now, and anywhere from 1 to 5 days, assuming he's not taking any days off or whatever. So it's a lot better if I can do a spot test. So I say I have a lot of things to test, get familiar with, and everything like that. It's I got plenty to keep me busy. So uh, there's just loads of iterations stuff to play with. So that's kind of the situation. I'm just doing some solution testing here to get familiarization while waiting for some chemicals, the potassium manganate, the ferric chloride, and go from there. Then I'll start running it on ore, start testing the effectiveness, the speed at which it dissolves. And then I need to start testing how to get it out of solution. My theory is that I've got so much gold concentration that I should be able to just directly electrowinning. On the other hand, according to the literature, direct electrowinning with thiosulfate tends to break down the thiosulfate. I'm also quite surprised at how much thiosulfate and copper in general are, you know, recommended here. Things like 75 grams per liter. That's an awful lot of stuff compared to like cyanide would be, pounds per ton. Eco Goldex is like 6 pounds per ton. So that makes it a lot more expensive right there, which makes it a lot more useful in something like a bottle roll for high grade concentrate or a tank leach of high grade ore, as opposed to a heap leach or a pad leach. Okay, Richard. So we'll see. It may be that, in Central America, cyanide's pretty easy. Eco Goldex is probably no big deal. Montana's a different situation. So we shall see if we can come up with a leach solution that is roughly as economic as cyanide, maybe costs twice as much per ton. But aside from that, works fairly similar. There's a lot of applications for it. I mean, the Eco Goldex, I think that was costing us like $6 a pound delivered to Montana. Hey, Tricky. So, again, a lot of this is not technical, regulatory. They won't let you use the easy one, and you got to do the other. It's kind of like if they won't let you use an internal combustion engine, you may have to go to an electric, battery electric. Doesn't mean it's any better. Just all you can do. You know. So there's various constraints, but if thiosulfate was generally as easy and as cheap as cyanide, they would have been using it. You know. So we shall see. In the meantime, I get to learn more and get more tools in my toolbox. Rarely a bad idea in and of itself. Oh. We'll see, Brian. I understand what you're saying. I have to test these things out because sometimes. Good night, Jean Francois. What?
Big candle.
Oh. But anyhow, benefit Brian.
Well, I don't think it benefits Ryan. It doesn't hurt Ryan, but Ryan said, I swear to zombie Jeebus, if I could get away with it, the dipshit would be thrown off the
Tobin. Is that a bridge or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Mystic Tobin.
Okay. I believe so, Tricky. Last I checked, they were kind of expensive, like $800. But
You'd think the companies that sold the cyanide would give you one free if you bought a rail car.
oh,
You know, buy our cyanide, get the antidote
if
free.
you can afford a rail car, you can afford that. But for the initial first aid, it's amyl nitrite inhalants. For the secondary first aid, it's intravenous injection of sodium nitrite and sodium thiosulfate. So uh, the amyl nitrite, the nitrite combines with your hemoglobin to decrease the effect of the cyanide, but it doesn't neutralize it. The sodium thiosulfate, it actually neutralizes cyanide. But yeah, just take a look, cyanide antidote kit, and you should be able to find it on the internet. They were, last time I looked, it was like $800 to $1,500. There, look at that. But shouldn't be too hard to find. I would think that it would be pretty easy in the Philippines because they're probably a little slack on the regulations and stuff. Hi, Sarah. How's it going? So that's shouldn't be too hard to get. I mean, it's not the particular ingredients in a cyanide antidote kit are not subject to abuse except for the amyl nitrite. The amyl nitrite inhalant, those are poppers. They give you, it's rush stuff like this. It's if you take them. Yeah, it's a little harsh on your blood pressure, I believe. I think it spikes blood pressure, but I'm not sure. Could be. I say it's not hard for it's probably not hard to get a hold of if you got a good reason for it. So I don't think it's going to be too hard, uh, Richard, but you'll just have to, um, you know, check around. Shouldn't be too hard though, I wouldn't think. I've never I've never seen that one, Chris. I have no idea. Um, I know that the antidote kits are darned effective. You're welcome, Sarah. We got a lot more crap to do. What?
Not even one of Brian's dipshits. It's a dipshit from another department.
Oh.
That's been stealing their vehicle.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my
God. So that's about it right now. I've got other stuff that's kind of taking up some time too. Tomorrow I'll be heading up to the mountain to help Lauren for a few days. I wish I could do videos on that, but it's private property and don't have permission of the homeowner. So, can't really do too much. I knew that they're trying to they're on their supposedly last hole out there at that drilling project, but it's a long one, and it's going to be a while, especially with this drill and this drill crew. Kind of an old weak drill, and drill crew's not a bunch of highly experienced, skilled, motivated, knowledgeable people. So it might be interesting. So,
Oh, now that
so I say we shall see what we shall see. But we'll go up to help Lauren for a couple of days there, get some stuff done because he doesn't have much available time because he's
apparently
babysitting the drill
the
crews.
key is now staying in Ryan's desk until Paul and Jim find a better solution because he and the clipboard were just sitting on Sean's desk out in the open all the
Yeah.
other cars.
Shh, you're on, you know. So that's what's going on here. Got some other stuff that um, we'll be announcing in a couple of weeks, and it's taken up some time, but it's confidential at the present time.
Methylene blue is also a classic.
Possibly, I don't know. I've never heard
Mr.
of it.
Virtue says, "Are you supporting Alex Jones with the methylene blue?" Well, RFK Jr. takes methylene blue.
I have no clue. I mean, what we used was amyl nitrite, sodium uh, sodium nitrite, and sodium thiosulfate injectable. And the nitrite does a pretty good job of getting your hemoglobin to give up the oxygen again. Yeah, it is pricey. What does that one cost, Chris? Eva's not able to comfortably click on stuff like we used to here. What's the price on that? Say I last time I checked, which was a couple of years ago, I think it was like $850 to about $1,500 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
I'm seeing it. Okay, Diane,
yeah. How much is it? What has it got?
1889.99.
Yeah, about $2,000.
Diana fit 5 grams for is indicated for known science.
Yeah, the
Critical
antidote's pretty
suspicion
safe.
is high. Cyanic
Yeah. Does it have amyl nitrite inhalant?
few items.
She's working.
Package dilution on side sterile that 5 grams of lipolyzed hydroxyl balance.
Yeah, that's not what we used to use. Say mine was one we used was the sodium nitrite, sodium thiosulfate combination. Uh, they had 2 ampules of nitrite and 2 ampules of thiosulfate, plus I think it was 10 amyl nitrite inhalants.
Oh, this is good.
And the rule was, when in doubt, just start sniffing the poppers.
Ryan says, I told them months ago we need like cardio.
Okay, you're on the internet.
Yeah, we don't know. They don't know.
I know they don't. Anyhow, we can talk about it later. So yeah, as I say, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but dying is kind of expensive too. So hey, it's one of those things. I'm
5, 7, 18.
718.
Ryan's.
Okay. So anyhow, uh, that's basically it right now. Uh, we got the possibility of processing another batch or two out at the mill. We have the time, etc. So we shall see what we shall see. Any questions or anything at this point? And yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of details that we can work out with solutions. We get through it. I'm just getting started on this. It's already ugly. Uh, so, any questions, suggestions, or topics? You say you do drilling, Sarah, but are you doing like core drilling, well drilling? What? Oh, yeah. This hole they're punching now is like scheduled to go over 1,000 feet. That's a lot of core drilling. Gonna take a while. Takes a long time to. Yeah, I'm not sure what that other stuff is, Chris. It may be better than the nitrite thiosulfate stuff, but I'm not familiar with. I know for a long time the nitrite thiosulfate stuff was the standard treatment, and I don't know. So there may be something better, but how much better? Worth it? Haven't the faintest. I really don't. The other thing may be that kit that you've got appears to be something basically like in a powder form, and then you dissolve it or whatever. So it may have a better shelf life. Really don't know. How many we got? What? Well, I don't have anything else to bring up here. I say it's got limited good results there. Leaching went well. The roasting went well. Would be nice if it were higher, but oh well. Not horrible. And we shall see. Might as well get ready, honey bunny. I'm assuming everyone can still hear me at this point. I haven't seen any comments recently.
All the way over here.
I just want to see if it roll. Roll. Yeah, just sitting there.
I tell you.
Assumption is nobody had anything to say.
Uh, okay, now we got a whole bunch of stuff. Okay. He was kind of choppy and sound. Well, yeah, I'm all the way on the side and I don't need to be on mic. Uh, silver's a critical mineral now, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Took them long enough.
Uh,
Not that anything hit it, but yeah.
okay.
And yeah, it's just it's a critical mineral at the moment, which is really good.
Yes, you're right, Chris.
We're doing sampling in place for working protected, so everything's done just right, like never there. That's Arizona.
Yeah.
They only go 25 feet. Chris says the nitrite thio is still standard for.
Yeah. Okay, so apparently there was something. Roll down now, little one. Let's get caught up first. See where we're at.
Salt closet. Hi, Shane.
Hello.
About time you showed up. Hi, Tricky. Well, prophylactically may not be terrible idea.
I have no clue.
Complete sampling of every known substance on the periodic table. Pilots from the pilot's pilot paleo something. The dry lake bed.
Okay.
We're not using it, but 2 guys tripped a booby trap last week. We're lucky they're okay now.
Jeez. That's good, Tricky. Okay. Yeah, probably, honey bunny. I think, Shane, were you the guy who drove the combine? Oh, my memory sucks. See, now it's not scrolling. It probably was, honey bunny. The last one I saw a picture of had anti-tank mines, and plural. Uh, well, have anyone got anything else to bring up? Any subjects or anything?
They plotting,
Yeah. Hmm.
plotting to speak.
They were rigged with something else, honey bunny. They they have they had their ways. Plus, it's World War II vintage, so I'm unsure as to how unstable certain things might get either. There was also talks about various gaseous possibilities too. Yeah, it sounded like way too much excitement for me, that's for sure. I don't need that much stress. I presume you can just take the standard detonator out and put in a different kind of detonator with a different kind of initiator. I hate people like that, Tricky. They're just so mean. No, Chris, better than the Indiana Jones. The Indiana Jones stuff is very flashy for the movies. This stuff is more realistic and more 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 functional. Uh, yep. I say it's Indiana Jones looked pretty fancy, but giant rolling rocks and stuff are pretty hard to set up properly. Anyhow, glad to hear from you, Tricky. Haven't heard from you in a while, so I was starting to wonder what was going on with you. Glad to know you're doing fine. No antidote. Yeah, pretty much. The only antidote is not being there. Oh, okay. Well, I will try and get more interesting stuff done this week. Uh, and hopefully we will have a lot more to show then. Well, why don't you get ready, honey bunny? Thank you for coming by, Richard. Appreciate to know how you're doing.
Be sure to give the babies lots of hugs and kisses, Tricky. Your new plans.
More solution testing primarily. I'm also doing some initial roasting tests right now, and kind of going from there. I also did a test where I took the roasted material and dissolved it in hydrochloric acid, and I wound up with a really nice, clean silica with little pieces of gold. So it seemed like a useful test for analysis, but not for production. You know. Anyhow. Go ahead and post it there, honey bunny. And, let's say I'm pretty sure I'll get this figured out fairly quickly. It took me quite a few years to figure out how to do the hand pan and the microfine gold, but I knew it was possible, so I kept working at things until I finally found one that worked. I got a lot more to work on.
Good night,
Nice
everyone.
to see you, Chris. Hope you're feeling more
Chris,
human
so
nowadays.
Good to see you.
Yeah. Exactly, Mr. Virtue. Just not flavors. All righty. Happy prospecting and keep it safe out there.